one of your best known songs, Can't Fight This Feeling. What specific feeling was that?
Well, it was, the specific feeling that I was writing about was, there was a girl, of course, and she was, when I met her, she was dating one of my friends, so of course it was off limits, but I definitely felt a thing with her, and we became friends, and I entered the friend zone. But then about a year later, they broke up, and it was like, well, now what's your excuse? And I realized that I was afraid. I was afraid to expose those feelings, and it probably just, I was afraid of being rejected, of that's probably the main thing, fear of rejection, and so yeah, that's what the song was about. But the story of that song, in a nutshell, was I started it in about 1973. I wrote the verses, but I couldn't write the chorus, and the verses I was really connected to, and I wrote a number of horrible choruses to these verses, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna file this, and I'm just gonna wait. And the truth is, I hadn't lived the chorus yet. And finally, in about 12 years later, I had a cathartic day, and I literally was on the floor of my bedroom crying and sweating, and it finally came to me. I went and got my lyric notebook, and I looked at it, and the very first line of the song is, "I can't fight this feeling any longer." And I was like, that's what this song is about. It was like right there, all that time, hiding in clear sight. Music is an amazing thing. Without it, I would never have survived. And songwriting has been my savior.
Bryan, what song, in your heart of hearts, what song do you like to play the most? I'm not saying what song you think strikes your audiences and fans the most, but what song do you like to play the most?
Roll with the Changes. It's got this cool loping drum part, and it's got a great message too, but as much fun as it is for me to play. Kevin once told me that I got the gig because the first time they ever played the song with me, or vice versa, me with them, was the best the song had ever felt. So,
what a compliment!
Yeah, it was.
Well, we had 12 drummers set up to replace Alan Gratzer, our original drummer. And Alan retired. He wanted to spend time with his family. He's still our good buddy. We see him whenever we're in the Sacramento area, and so we set up an audition, and Bryan was first on the list. We played Roll with the Changes with Bryan, and I'm like, we're done. We got our man. We had to sit through the other 12 auditions, but Bryan got the gig with Roll with the Changes.
Well, let's quickly go on down the line then. I was asking about what you, in your heart of hearts, really love to play more than any other thing.
Well, I'll go with what Bryan said, Roll with the Changes for me. It's some great guitar solos, and I get to do a lot of high harmonies. And I mean, for a guitar player in REO Speedwagon, I get to do a solo in every song. It's an amazing band for a guitar player.
Well, your turn, Bruce.
Yeah. Well, of course, I'm going to say Back on the Road Again, but I don't mean that. That's my song.
I think you do.
I love that song, but at the same time, I see what the boys are saying about Roll to Changes. It's a unique kind of a feel for that song. I like that song a lot. But I think my favorite song is Time for Me to Fly. I love that song. I don't know why.
Well, it was the first song you ever recorded with us.
Yeah, I think maybe that had part to it. I forgot about that, right?
Yeah. But Back on the Road Again, I mean, if I can speak for Bruce for 1 second, Back on the Road Again was a song that Bruce used to play in a local band in Champaign. Bruce is a couple of years younger than us, and I remember when I first joined the band, we all hung out at this bar called the Red Lion, and I saw Bruce's band play Back on the Road Again, and Bruce wasn't in the band. We had Greg Philbin was the original bass player, and I remember thinking, that kid is the real deal. And I, in the back of my mind, I always kind of thought, one of these days, he's going to be in REO Speedwagon. That's to a great degree why Bruce is in the band, because of that song.
And I can be myself more on
Yeah.
Bruce's song because it's kind of a free-for-all guitar part. There's no really, you know, lines really other than din, din, din,
Right.
din, din, and then I can, you know, pretty much express myself as more like, you know, me in the band. So on Bruce's song, but I mean, like I said, I can on all the songs. It's great for a guitar player.